The movie begins with a flashback where two Boston detectives, Spenser and his partner Driscoll, visit the home of their captain, John Boylan. Spenser gives his testimony to the judge, stating that he suspects Boylan is covering up the case of the death of a woman named Gloria. Spenser confronts Boylan at his home, finding him intoxicated while his wife shows visible injuries on her face. The situation escalates into a heated argument, leading Spenser to violently assault Boylan in frustration. In the present, Spenser is nearing the end of his 5-year prison sentence. While incarcerated, he befriends a fellow convict named Squeeb, who is affiliated with a gang outside. During a conversation, Squeeb's men surround Spenser, prepared to attack him. Squeeb warns Spenser to leave Boston for good and delivers a farewell message from someone. Sensing danger, Spenser quickly defends himself, fighting off the men. When the guards intervene, Spenser realizes that Squeeb has stabbed him, and one of the guards tells him he's lucky because his actions were in self-defense. Upon his release, Spenser is greeted by his best friend and business partner, Henry. Before they can leave, Spenser's ex-girlfriend Sissy shows up. Unwilling to see her, Spenser and Henry drive away. At Henry's apartment, Spenser is greeted by Driscoll, who welcomes him back. Spenser checks his dog, but after years in prison, the dog doesn't recognize him. He enters his room and lays comfortably on his bed, but he later discovers that he has a roommate named Hawk. Spenser is disheartened to see that his dog seems to prefer Hawk over him. That night, Boylan drives home while on the phone with his daughter about her school assignment. He receives another call from a man instructing him to meet at a bus depot. When he arrives, his car is rammed and mysterious men drag him out. They accuse Boylan of leaking information, but he denies it. Despite his pleas, they mercilessly kill him by beheading him. The next morning, Nurse Letitia returns home to find her husband, Detective Terrence, dead in his car in front of their house. Meanwhile, as Henry and Spenser prepare a meal, they hear news about Boylan's murder. Driscoll and another officer suddenly arrive to question Spenser, as he is a prime suspect in Boylan's death. Henry backs Spenser's alibi, claiming they were together all night. Satisfied with the alibi, Driscoll prepares to leave, but his partner accuses Spenser of killing Boylan, clearly harboring animosity toward him. Spenser later attends a driving school, planning to work as a truck driver. During the lesson, he can't help but wonder who killed Boylan and why. He then visits Henry's gym and sees Hawk sparring with someone. The opponent taunts Hawk, saying he punches like a girl, which fuels Hawk's anger, causing him to beat the man until others step in. Spenser notices Hawk's poor technique and lack of control and starts coaching him. Sissy shows up, confronting Spenser for not reaching out after his release. Spenser apologizes, explaining he's trying to turn his life around, but Sissy declares she never wants to see him again. At home, Spenser and Henry see news reports about Terrence's death. Police claim Terrence, a member of the narcotics division, kills Boylan before shooting himself. Spenser, who trains with Terrence and knows him as a clean cop, doubts the police's narrative. Henry advises Spenser to stay out of it and let the police handle the investigation. Spenser agrees, but upon seeing Letitia defend her husband's innocence, he changes his mind. Spenser meets Letitia, introducing himself as Terrence's former friend. He shares his past dealings with Boylan and offers to help uncover the truth about her husband's case. Letitia reveals the police declare Terrence a dirty cop after finding drugs hidden in their home. When Spenser asks where Terrence was last seen, she recalls him mentioning a meeting with his partner at a bar. Spenser recognizes the bar as a hangout for officers like Terrence. That night, he visits the bar and speaks with the officer Letitia mentioned. In the restroom, Spenser tries to question the officer, but other officers who are Boylan's allies enter, expressing their hostility towards Spenser. After beating the helpless man, they toss him out of the bar. As Spenser gets up, he notices a security camera from a nearby convenience store pointing at the bar's entrance. He enters the store and forcibly takes the footage from the clerk. With Hawk's help, Spenser reviews the footage and sees Terrence leaving the bar and entering a yellow car. They also spot a blue car, the same vehicle where Terrence is later found dead, and that collides with Boylan's car. When Hawk asks if Spenser recognizes the cars, Spenser says no but claims to know where to start looking. The next day, Spenser visits Boylan's crime scene to search for clues, but the only useful thing he finds is a toothpick. He then confronts Driscoll, who is training at a gym, and questions him about Terrence. Driscoll insists Terrence is a dirty cop and the case is closed. Spenser doubts that Terrence would drive a car and kill himself right in front of their home, where their son might see him. Driscoll suggests Terrence isn't in his right mind due to drugs. When Spenser mentions the crime scene, Driscoll claims he's never been there. Spenser becomes suspicious since he finds a toothpick at the scene, knowing Driscoll always has one in his mouth. One day, while dining at a restaurant with Hawk, Spenser sees Sissy with another man. In the restroom, Sissy follows him, and they make a TikTok video together. After leaving, Spenser spots the yellow car from the CCTV footage and chases it. While pursuing the car, Spenser jumps a fence, only to be attacked by a loose dog. The dog's owner calls it off, and Spenser, injured, returns to the gym to find Hawk. Hawk reveals he memorized the car's plate number but couldn't tell Spenser earlier because he ran off. Spenser visits an old friend to check the car's plate number and learns the identity of the yellow car's owner, a man named Charlie. The three stake out Charlie as he gets a massage, and Spenser explains past events. Gloria is an activist opposing gentrification in the city, and Charlie has been hired to harass and intimidate her. The harassment escalated until it reached the point where Charlie mercilessly killed and hung Gloria's cat in his home. Spenser recalls receiving a call about a suspicious vehicle days later, which led to Gloria's body being found. As the days went by, Spenser found out that the department was covering up Gloria's case, so he confronted Boylan, only to be promptly dismissed. Spenser knew he should have let it go, but he firmly believed that Boylan was hiding something. A reporter showed him security footage of Gloria's murder, where a gang of men beat her, yet the authorities hadn't taken any action regarding the evidence. Armed with the evidence, Spenser and Driscoll went to Boylan to question him. Spenser told him that he had found the evidence, but Boylan feigned ignorance and tried to force him to leave. As Spenser's frustration with Boylan built up, he couldn't hold back any longer and relentlessly punched his captain. Hearing all of this, Hawk walks up to Charlie's car, punctures all the tires, and then draws a cat's face on the door. The following day, Spenser trails Charlie and notices two FBI agents keeping an eye on him as well. Charlie enters an alley with a bag, and soon after, a cop Spenser clashes with, Macklin, leaves with the same bag. Spenser approaches the FBI agents, and they recognize him as the man Boylan sent to prison. They give him a card, urging him to share any information related to the case. Spenser meets with Hawk to discuss their ongoing investigation, and when Hawk suggests that killing Boylan might be a message, Spenser is stunned and comes up with an idea. Spenser goes to see Squeeb in jail to demand answers, but Squeeb refuses to provide any. Because of this, Spenser video calls Henry to show Squeeb that his wife is currently on a date with Hawk. Spenser tells Squeeb that he needs to hurry because they've already had 4 bottles, so Squeeb agrees and orders Hawk to leave his wife alone. Spenser complies with Squeeb's request, and the man reveals that all the answers he seeks are at a place called Wonderland. With the help of a reporter named Wayne, Spenser and Hawk discover that Wonderland is actually a gambling scam and a hub for various drug operations run by corrupt police officers and criminal groups. Spenser informs Wayne that they will help him gather evidence to stop the operations at Wonderland, but Wayne warns that they're up against something too powerful and no one will believe the information he shares because it will just be erased. When Spenser visits the place to investigate, 2 gang members confront him and force him to leave, and he has no choice but to follow. The funerals for Terrence and Boylan are held simultaneously, but Boylan receives a higher level of honor, while Terrence's service is conducted in a simple church. After attending Terrence's funeral, Spenser goes to a Mexican restaurant with Hawk, but notices several men suspiciously eyeing him from inside. Another man enters and immediately attacks Spenser with a machete from behind, but he quickly dodges and fights off the attackers. As Spenser is about to be killed, Hawk suddenly appears in a car and crashes it into the restaurant to save him. Due to the incident, the trio decides to temporarily move to Sissy's house to avoid their enemies. Later that day, Letitia calls Spenser, asking him to come over after finding their house in disarray. Spenser and Hawk go to Letitia's house, where she hands Spenser a hard drive, which might be what the intruders were looking for. They listen to the contents, revealing a recording of a conversation between Terrence and Boylan. It turns out that Boylan had already testified to Terrence about their involvement with Wonderland because he wanted to leave the operation. He admits to Terrence that the Trinitarios, the gang that attacked Spenser, works for Charlie, while Charlie works for Macklin, and they all work for Driscoll. Now that the truth is revealed, Spenser goes to Driscoll's home to confront him about his findings. He gives Driscoll one last chance to surrender and stop the Wonderland operation before more people are hurt. Spenser hands over the audio tape to 2 FBI agents, but they tell him that it's not enough to clear Terrence's name, which greatly frustrates Spenser. Spenser goes to Charlie to ask about the weekly drug deliveries they've been making. Under Spenser's pressure, Charlie confesses that a delivery will take place today. Spenser and Hawk wait for a white van to pass by and then throw a hammer at it, causing it to crash. They then approach the van and beat the occupants to force them out and steal the vehicle. Spenser shows Wayne the drugs to use as evidence, but Wayne says it's still not enough, which frustrates Spenser even more. They take the van to Sissy's garage and learn from her that Henry has gone back to his apartment. They receive a call from Driscoll, revealing that he has captured Henry to use as leverage. He tells Spenser to bring the drugs to Wonderland, or else he will kill Henry. Before heading there, Spenser and Hawk carefully devise a plan to defeat their enemies. Driscoll and his men patiently wait for Spenser at Wonderland, but when a car arrives, it turns out to be Sissy. Sissy rescues Henry, but Driscoll demands to know where Spenser is. At that moment, Spenser and Hawk storm in, driving a truck and crashing through the vehicles blocking the road. Spenser chases Driscoll, but gets injured by a machete from one of Driscoll's men. He continues to pursue Driscoll, but is surrounded by several men armed with machetes. Fortunately, Hawk arrives to help and knocks down the attackers one by one. Driscoll stops running to wait for Spenser, but Spenser suddenly jumps at him from the side. Spenser manages to point a gun at Driscoll, declaring he will have him arrested, but he decides to teach him a lesson first. He challenges Driscoll to hand-to-hand combat, during which Driscoll initially overpowers Spenser. However, Spenser finds an opening and counterattacks, landing several heavy punches on Driscoll just like he did with Boylan. In the end, Spenser makes a citizen's arrest and apprehends Driscoll. When the authorities and the FBI show up, they find all the drugs along with the criminals in handcuffs. The news reports the arrest of everyone involved, and the Wonderland Casino is also shut down. Gloria's case is finally resolved, and it's been proven that Terrence was framed for the crimes. Terrence is posthumously honored at his funeral, and a scholarship is established for his child. Spenser and Hawk are hailed as local heroes. At the end of the movie, the four gather at a restaurant to eat. However, they see a news report about the arrest of a firefighter who claims he has been framed. Spenser recognizes the man as a former high school classmate. As the man pleads for help, Spenser freezes, deep in thought, while Sissy urges him not to get involved. Thank you so much for staying till the end. If you enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future uploads.